Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to the Open HPI course on Business Process Modeling and Analysis. In this week, I will be introducing Business Process Management. This week has 7 lecture videos. In the first lecture video, I will be defining business processes. The second one is about modeling, because our course is about business process modeling and analysis. I'd like to expand a little bit on modeling in general and also discuss a little bit of modeling theory. After that, we will be looking at business process models, so apply what we learned from modeling theory to process models. In lecture video 1.4, we will be looking at interacting business processes, so processes that interact with other business processes. This topic will be discussed in detail in week 6. In lecture video 1.5, we look at models and instances. Each business process model has a number of process instances. We'll be covering these topics. In 1.6, we look at different levels of process models. And finally, we introduce the business process lifecycle in video 1.7. Okay. So I'd like to come back to my introductory video that most of you will have seen, maybe some time ago already, where I mentioned that we are all involved in business processes. As clients, we trigger business processes, and as professionals, we participate in business processes. We had a number of examples on this slide, and I'd like to focus on the submission of an insurance claim. So when, for instance, our bike has been stolen, we fill out an insurance claim. We send the insurance claim to our insurance company. In the insurance company, there are professionals who are in charge of handling this insurance claim. So, for instance, people would check whether the theft of my bike is actually covered by my insurance. We always try to be very visual. So we try to use, let's say, graphics to specify what are the parts of business process, what are the players in business processes, how do the players interact. And in this first example, we represent participants and the flow of messages between the participants. So in the insurance example, we have the client. We have the client that is represented by this upper box, and we have the insurance company represented by this box in the lower part of the slide. And we also have a message flow between them. So we see here that there is a flow of a message from the client to the insurance company. And there are 2 additional messages. One is from the insurance company to the client, which is called letter of approval. So the letter of approval might be sent there, and also the letter of rejection is sent from the insurance company to the client. So this very simple visual representation shows quite well the parties that are involved and how these parties interact using messages. However, it's far from being a complete process specification because, for instance, we see only the potential flow of messages. So either the insurance company would send a letter of approval or the insurance company would send a letter of rejection, but not both at the same time. But this information is not reflected in this visual representation in this first model that we've been looking at. So we will need to have a bit more detail there. In the introductory video, I also talked about the role of business processes for companies. So companies and public administrations provide services and products to their clients by enacting business processes. And business processes are at the core of organizations and therefore an important success factor. I also mentioned that people are the key to business processes. And we had a number of roles that we were discussing in the introductory video. So we have the process participants. These are the domain experts, for instance, working in the insurance company, but also in public administration or in finance. The process owners are domain experts as well. They have a management position. Maybe the chair of a department would be an example position of a process owner. They often have a business background. Then in many process management projects, we see business process management consultants. These are the real process experts. They have a business background or an IT background. We see both, let's say, backgrounds here for these roles. And finally, when it comes to automating business process, to implementing business process in IT, software architects and also developers are involved there. So we see these different roles, and when you look at the people, or when you also think about people in your organization that fill these roles, these people use a different technical terminology. Yeah? We can even say that these people might even speak different languages. However, when we want to achieve something, when we want to create a good business process, when we want to implement a good business process, all these people play important roles. All these people should be involved, and all these people should come to a common understanding. So in process documentation, process improvement, process automation, and process monitoring, it's important to have, let's say, global, some common language that all the people could use, and this language is process models, and this is why process modeling is in the heart or in the core of this course. So it's time to look at what a business process actually is. A business process consists of a set of activities that are performed in coordination in an organizational and technical environment. And these activities jointly realize a business goal. In the lower part of this slide, we have a business process model of the insurance claim process I was already discussing. So I'd like to highlight some of the elements here. So the definition says we have a set of activities, that are performed in coordination, in organizational and technical environment. So I'll start with the set of activities. Well, set of activities is quite simple. We have here activities: register claim, decide on claim coverage, prepare letter of approval, and prepare letter of rejection. These activities are not independent from each other. These activities are performed in coordination. And the coordination is here mainly defined by the ordering in which things happen. So the first thing that happens is a claim is received. Once the claim is received, an activity register claim is executed. Once the claim is registered, we need to decide on the claim coverage. After we decide on the claim coverage, two different things can happen. Either we prepare the letter of approval, or we prepare the letter of rejection. And finally, either the approval is sent or the claim is rejected. So that's an introductory example of a business process. And we also see that all these activities jointly realize a business goal. And in both cases, when the claim is achieved or is approved, or when the claim is rejected, in both cases, the business goal of the insurance company is fulfilled, obviously. All right. Related to the scoping of business processes, each business process is enacted by a single organization, but it may interact with business processes performed by other organizations. So the scope of a process is always an organization. That's important to remember. All right, so in the lower part, you see the process we have just been discussing. So this is a business process that runs inside of the insurance company. But we also have, let's say, in the upper part, another role, which is the client. And the client also might run internally a business process where their activity, one activity is filling out the insurance claim form. Another activity would be sending out the insurance claim form. Other activities would be then receiving either the letter of approval or the letter of rejection. So we can add the client to this, and we have now an interaction. That means here we have a flow of message similar to the one we've seen before. So the client sends the claim to the insurance company. The claim is received. On receiving the claim, the insurance company creates a new process instance, to handle this case. And here we also have claim approved. That's a send message, and here we also have message flow from the insurance company back to the client. And here we see that we have alternative, either the letter of approval is sent or the letter of rejection is sent. The point I like to make here is that the scope of a business process is a single organization. So when I use the highlighter to scope what a business process is, it's, let's say, the set of activities that are performed in coordination, organization, and technical setting, and that might communicate with business processes of other organization, which is the client in this case. So business process management is a broader, let's say, the broader area that business process modeling and analysis lives within. So business process management includes concepts, methods, and techniques to support the design, administration, configuration, enactment, and analysis of business processes. So let's look at the different terms that have been used here. So design, administration, configuration, enactment, and analysis. You see here the business process model, and well, people needed to work together to come up with this model, need to design the model. We need to, say, register models. We need to configure the models to make it executable. We also look at enactment of the process. Let's say the process needs to be then enacted in the organization and technical setting, and also needs to be analyzed with respect to formal properties or with respect to performance properties. So this is the whole area of business process management that, let's say, provides the larger scope, and we look at business process modeling and analysis, which is a, let's say, a subset of this area. Okay, so what does business process, or what is described by business processes? Well, business processes describe the execution ordering of activities and their interactions with partners. They do not describe the actual implementation of the activities or the actual implementation of the interactions, nor the way the coordination is achieved. So when we have a business process like the one we've seen here, we do not specify in which way the insurance claim is sent from the client to the insurance company. This is not specified here. It's specified that there is a message flowing from the client to the insurance company. We don't say how that is technically performed. It can be by letter, it can be by fax message, it can be by email, it can also be by using a web form, for instance. The same holds, of course, for the message flow in the other direction. But we also just say, from a semantic point of view, the activities are specified by their labels, so register claim. How register claim is executed is then up to, let's say, the implementation and the configuration phase. So we are not prescribing things here. Therefore, a common understanding of the process model, but also the labels used here is essential. And here we have the other activities. A business process management system is a generic software system that is driven by explicit process representation to coordinate the enactment of business processes. So the coordination can be achieved in quite a flexible way by a BPMS, a business process management system. So what does this type of system do is the following. The BPMS gets or receives the process model with execution information attached to that, and then interprets it during runtime, for instance. So it makes sure that the activities as specified in the process model are actually executed in the same order and in the same execution constraints, which means branching, as specified by this model. So I wanted to introduce the term process orchestration, and we are now able to do that. So a business process management system acts as a central agent that controls the execution of process activities. This ensures the coordination of activities as defined by the process model. And that is quite similar to a conductor that centrally controls the musician in an orchestra. So here there might be the BPMS, so maybe I can also sketch that a little bit. Here might be the BPMS. And the BPMS is central coordinating instance, and that sees, okay, the claim has been received. The first thing that needs to be done is the claim needs to be registered. Once the claim is registered, we need to decide on the claim coverage. After that, we need to do a decision. We need to either prepare a letter of approval or prepare a letter of rejection. And finally, we need to send out the respective letters. So this is the central agent that coordinates, orchestrates the process, and this is where the term process orchestration comes from. All right, this concludes the first video clip 1.1. What did we discuss in this video clip? We took a look at business processes. What are the elements of business processes? What is the scope of business processes? We discussed the interaction of business processes. We took a look at the broader area of business process management, discussed briefly what a business process management system does, and finally we took a look at process orchestration. That concludes video clip 1.1.